The letter I never sent. You hear her sigh, a warm, tired laugh that's half joy, half regret. You ever find something in your house you forgot you even had? A photo, a necklace, a box full of ghosts? Well, that's what I found tonight. I was looking for my glasses case and ended up finding this damn box instead. Lord, it's been sitting here for 40 years, maybe more. Can you believe that? 40 years and not a speck of peace in between. Now, I could have just closed it up again, pretended I never saw it. That's what I've been doing my whole life. But tonight, no. Tonight, I'm gonna open it. Because if I don't, I swear this thing'll outlive me. She opens the box, takes out an old letter. The envelope is brittle, yellowed, smudged with fingerprints. There it is, the letter I never sent. Lord, if paper could talk, huh? It'd scream. You know, folks see me now. Nice old lady down the lane, makes banana bread for the neighborhood, keeps her porch pretty. But there's a lot they don't know. A lot. I wasn't always kind. I wasn't always safe. Hell, I wasn't even smart. But I loved hard. And sometimes that's the dumbest thing a woman can do. All right, let's see what young me had to say. She opens the letter. Her voice softens as she reads. Dear Thomas, I don't know if you'll ever read this or if you even deserve to, but tonight I'm writing because the silence been eating me alive. I miss you. I miss the girl I used to be when you said you loved me. Her hand trembles. She looks up from the page, eyes glassy, voice thick with old feelings. Thomas. God, even saying his name feels dangerous after all this time. Ocean View Pier, 1963. The sound of ocean waves and a jukebox somewhere playing an old Elvis song. You really think your mama's gonna scare me off, Susie Q? She already tried. Said I'm gonna ruin my life if I keep sneaking out to see you. Well, you tell her I said she's too late. I already ruined it. They laugh, kissing under a flickering pier light. The scene feels pure, the kind of young love that burns quick and deep. He was everything my mama warned me about. Broke, bold, beautiful in that messy way only young men can be. Worked at the docks. Always smelled like sea salt and cigarette smoke. I swear when he smiled at me, I forgot my own damn name. You'll marry a man who can feed you, not one who will drown you. They sent me away that summer. Said it was for my own good. My own good. Yeah, right. It was for their reputation. Back to present. The room feels heavier now. She folds the letter halfway, sighing. I thought he'd move on. I prayed he would. But then I found out I was pregnant, 18 and scared to death. My mama said, we'll handle it. And when she said that, I knew that baby was never gonna be mine. I had a son, Michael. I held him once, just once. They told me not to look too long, said it would only make it harder, and they were right. I still see his little face every time I close my eyes. A tear slides down her cheek, then she straightens up, voice bitter now. But that's not the part that'll make you gasp. Oh, no. The reason I never sent this letter, the reason I buried it for 40 years, is because the man I loved wasn't who he said he was. And the folks who took my baby, my own blood, they were hiding something too. something dark. She leans forward, her eyes fixed on the camera, a small, eerie smile curling on her lips. You think you know people, honey? But trust me, nobody is what they seem. Music fades low and haunting. The camera zooms out, showing the fire crackling behind her as the screen fades to black. The box I should have burned.
You ever think back on someone and realize you didn't really know 'em at all? That's how it was with Thomas. Back then, I thought he was just a wild boy with salt on his skin and dreams too big for his pockets. Turns out, he was keeping more secrets than I ever guessed. I found the first lie by accident. After they sent me away, I used to write him every Sunday night, letters I never mailed, just like this one. But one of those letters came back to me. See, I'd tucked one inside my mama's desk, thinking she'd never notice. But she did. She mailed it. And weeks later, a letter came back, addressed to me, in Thomas's handwriting. Only the signature, it wasn't his. See that? Different slant, heavier ink, and the smell, cologne. Expensive. Thomas never owned anything that fancy. When I asked my daddy about it years later, he said, "Forget that boy. He was trouble you didn't need." But I remember the look in his eyes when he said it, like he wasn't talking about heartbreak. He was talking about business. My daddy ran boats. Everyone thought he hauled shrimp, but I heard whispers, cash, liquor, stuff that wasn't supposed to cross the border. And Thomas, he worked those docks. A slow exhale. I used to think he loved me 'cause he saw something pure in me. Now I know he was keeping me close 'cause he needed leverage. Turns out, my family wasn't trying to save me from a broken heart. They were trying to keep their own mess from spilling into daylight. Sweet, huh? Romeo and Juliet, except both families are crooks, and the girl's the only fool who didn't know it. I stared into the fire, eyes distant. I learned the truth in pieces. First, a newspaper clipping. Dock fire kills 2. Missing man presumed dead. Thomas's name right there in black ink. My daddy didn't shed a tear, just folded the paper, slid it in his coat, and said, "Let that be the end of it." But that wasn't the end, 'cause 2 years later, I got a postcard. No name, no address, just a picture of that same pier. On the back, one line, "He wasn't supposed to die." I glanced up at the camera, a small, knowing smile. That's when I knew. Thomas didn't burn. He disappeared. And here's the part that'll make your stomach twist. The week that postcard came, I was sitting at a church picnic, holding a baby boy that looked more like Thomas than any child I'd ever seen. The woman holding him, my cousin, Irene. She'd been married 6 months. Now tell me, honey, what are the odds? I leaned back, fingers trembling over the letter. After that day, nothing felt real. Every smile looked painted on. Every "How are you, dear?" sounded like a dare. And that postcard? It vanished from my dresser one night. Mama said she threw it out, but I think she gave it back to whoever wanted me quiet. Lightning flashes. Her voice drops low, almost a whisper. 40 years I've kept this box shut, but lately things have been happening. Phone calls with no one on the other end,
An envelope on my porch with no return address. Inside, a single photo. Thomas. Same grin, not a day older. She looked straight into the camera, half smile, trembling. So tell me, honey, if the dead can write letters, what do you think they want? The fire flickers out, fade to black.
3 nights after that photo showed up on my porch, I started hearing footsteps outside my window. Not loud, just slow, careful, like someone who knows every creak of your porch boards. I thought maybe it was the wind or a raccoon, but then I found a cigarette butt on my windowsill. Lucky Strike, Thomas's brand. Now listen, I'm not one for ghosts. I've seen enough of the real monsters walking around in daylight. But that smell, that mix of smoke and cheap whiskey, it was like he'd just stepped out for a minute and was coming back any second. So I did what any old woman with too much time and not enough sleep would do. I poured myself some bourbon, sat by the window, and waited. And damn if someone didn't knock. He didn't say a word, just handed me a small brown envelope. No name, no return, just a wax seal, shaped like a ship's wheel. My daddy used that same seal on all his shipping letters. I hadn't seen that mark since the day he died. I opened it, and inside was a photo. Me, sitting right here in this chair. Same sweater, same fire. Only the photo was taken from outside my window. I told myself it had to be a prank, some neighborhood kid. But when I looked out, he was gone. No footprints in the mud. Nothing but that smell again. Cigarettes and sea salt. You know what's funny? I wasn't scared. Not yet. There was this strange comfort, like someone finally remembered I existed. After all these years of keeping quiet, it felt like the past was reaching out, saying, I still see you. But what it showed me next, I'd give anything to forget. This belonged to my daddy. I found it tucked inside the lining of his old coat, the one I buried him in. But when I went to visit his grave last week, guess what? The page was sitting right on top of the headstone, dry, clean, not a speck of dirt. And written across it, in Thomas's handwriting, were 3 names. My daddy's, my cousin Irene's, and mine. You see that? Happens every damn time. I keep telling myself it's the wiring, old house, loose bulbs. But deep down, I know it's him. He's not haunting me, though. No. He's warning me. He wasn't supposed to die. Remember that postcard? Well, I think he didn't. I think Thomas lived enough to see what my family did, and he's been trying to tell me ever since. I keep this letter by my bed now, the one I never sent. Sometimes I hear it rustle, like it's breathing. And last night, I swear I heard someone whisper my name. I thought the past was buried, but it's digging itself up, one secret at a time. And if I've learned anything, it's that the dead don't want forgiveness. They want company. So long it starts to sound like a bedtime story. You tell yourself it don't mean nothing, that you're protecting people. But secrets, they rot. They eat through walls and families and love. I told you about that ledger I found, remember? The one with my name, my daddy's, and Irene's. Well, I found out what those names meant. It wasn't just a shipping record. It was a burial list. I went back to my daddy's old warehouse, the one they said burned down in '85. Half the roof's gone now, but the cellar's still dry. And down there, behind a stack of rusted barrels, I found a box marked T.H., Thomas Halloran. Inside were newspaper clippings about a baby gone missing, a woman named Ruth Hale arrested for forgery, and a note written in my daddy's hand saying, "Keep her quiet." That woman, Ruth Hale, she was Thomas's sister. They lied to me about Thomas, about the baby, about everything. My father didn't just disapprove of Thomas. He destroyed him, ruined his business, framed his sister, and made him disappear. And me? He told me my child died at birth. But now I know the truth. That baby was taken away, sold. I carried that guilt for 40 damn years. All the while, sitting at Sunday dinners, smiling at the same men who signed that ledger. I had to see it for myself. So I went to the old church graveyard last week. There's a section behind the oaks. No markers, just mounds. That's where they buried the mistakes, the ones they couldn't explain. One grave had fresh dirt. No name, no flowers. And sitting right on top, a silver chain with a small locket. It's the same one I gave Thomas the night before he vanished. I opened it, and inside wasn't his picture. It was mine, and a tiny baby's footprint pressed on the other side. That's when I knew. Thomas didn't leave me. He was taken. And that baby they said died, I think he found his way back. You remember the man who knocked on my door with that envelope? The one who never spoke? He came back last night. He walked right up to me, looked me dead in the eye, and said one sentence. "You kept my father's letter." I didn't ask his name. I didn't have to. He looked just like Thomas. He didn't hurt me, didn't threaten me. He just smiled, handed me a key, and said, "He's waiting." So tomorrow, I'm going back to that warehouse one last time. And maybe this time, I'll finally open the letter I never sent.
Funny thing about storms, they don't always start loud. Sometimes they creep in quiet, like a secret finally finding its voice. That man, the one who said, "You kept my father's letter," he didn't come to hurt me. He came to finish something. It's been 40 years since I stepped foot here. The smell hit me first, rust, mold, and something sweet like old paper and grief. I told myself I'd come here to find peace, but deep down, I knew I was coming for the truth. And the truth don't give peace, honey. It takes it. Same box I saw before, but this time there was a second keyhole. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. 40 years of silence, and it all came down to this one piece of paper. Grace, they told me you were gone. They took our son and said he'd be raised proper. I tried to get him back, but they came for me next. If you ever find this, I forgive you. Don't look for me. Look for him. He'll know you by the locket. They lied to me, all of them, and that man who came last night, He wasn't my ghost. He was my son. You shouldn't have opened it. His eyes, they were Thomas's eyes, but there was something else there too. Something cold. You're my son? They told me stories about you, how you helped them, how you signed the ledger. I didn't understand. Not yet. Then I saw it, another letter on the table, under the one I'd read. She doesn't remember signing. The sedatives worked. File her name under the Hale case. Make sure the child is moved to Facility B. They made me part of it. Made me sign away my own blood. Don't worry. I'm not here to punish you. I came to finish what he started. In that moment, I didn't see my son anymore. I saw the past, every lie, every secret, standing right in front of me. He left me alive, said I should live long enough to remember everything. And now, I do. They found the warehouse burned to the ground that night, said it was lightning. But I saw the look in his eyes before he left. Maybe this letter should have stayed buried. Maybe I should have never gone back. But if you're watching this and someone hands you a key, don't turn it.
The scene opens in total silence. The storm has passed. The only sound is the slow ticking of a clock. The woman, Aunt Susan, sits by the fire, pale and distant. Her hands are trembling as she holds the half-burnt letter. I thought telling the truth would set me free, but it just woke something up. For years, I told myself Thomas died that night, that the fire took him. But lately, when I walk past the window, I see his shadow still standing by the barn. A faint knock echoes from somewhere in the house. 3 slow knocks. She freezes. No one knows this address. No one. Another knock, louder this time. She slowly rises, clutching the letter. I shouldn't have written it. I shouldn't have opened the door. She walks toward the front door. The camera follows behind her shoulder. The house is dark, creaking with age. She stops halfway, staring at the knob. Thomas. The door creaks open by itself. Cold wind rushes in. The lights flicker and die. Silence. The screen stays black for 5 seconds, then a whisper. Faint, male, almost inside the viewer's ear. Voice. Thomas. You finally sent it. Sudden cut, flash of light, we see her reflection in the cracked mirror by the hallway. But her reflection isn't hers. It's Thomas, standing where she should be. He's smiling faintly. Thunder crashes, the camera jerks, the reflection moves closer while she stands frozen. Susan, screaming, No, you're gone, you're dead. Thomas, from the mirror, calm. Then why are you still in my house? Her scream cuts short. The mirror shatters into blackness. Epilogue. The next morning. Voiceover from a radio report plays over slow, quiet footage of the burned-down house. Firefighters discovered the remains of an elderly woman at the Holleran property late last night. Authorities say the cause of the fire is undetermined. Strangely, the home was abandoned decades ago. The camera pans through the ruins. Amidst the ashes lies a single, untouched envelope. Close up. It's the same letter. On it, written in faded ink, Return to sender. A faint whisper echoes. Susan's voice, soft, broken, echoing from nowhere. Some letters find their own way home. Screen fades to black. The sound of 3 slow knocks echoes one final time. The letter I never sent. Not every truth belongs to the living.